Hi and welcome to week 6 of the Whole Life Challenge Mindful Mobility series with me, Luke Jones from HeroMovement.net. So today we're going to be tying everything together. The big theme is integration and experimentation and play. So we're going to be moving through a stand-in mobility sequence, tying in some of the things that we've covered in the previous sessions, and we'll also then move to the floor and look at sort of a hip mobility improvisation sequence that you can have a play around with and start to build upon in your own practice. So we're going to start standing, start with that strange neck exercise we did all the way back in session 1. So shifting the head from side to side. Remember, we're trying to keep the eyes level. It's just side to side motion here. Breathe in deep. And also then start moving backwards and forwards, that tortoise head movement. And we can tie things together. So we're looking at that circular movement. And switch to the other side. We'll just touch on this very briefly. If you need to stop the video and practice a little bit longer, then that's great too. What we're looking to do is integrate things now. Shortly, we'll just touch on different areas first. So we're going to shift the thoracic side to side now. And we're gliding those ribs, keeping the eyes level again. Just shifting from side to side. Again, I like to keep hands on the core to remind it to stay switched on. Again, shifting through, flexion and extension now. So trying to isolate that movement at the mid-back. Can then combine those movements. So we've got that circular motion in the thoracic. Switch to the other side. Again, if you need to slow things down, that's completely fine. We'll move to the hips. So we're going to extend forward, back, just that hip hinge. Just a few reps of this one. Side to side, and then combining for that hip circle. The other way. And then lastly to the feet. So if you can see my feet here, I'll go a little bit further away. We're going to come up and then back, up and back, up and back, and we'll do that side to side motion, and then combining the two to those feet, foot, ankle and knee circles here, and then switching the other way around. Again, take this at your own pace. If you need to pause the video just to recap or go back to the other week's videos, that's completely fine. So we recapped now over those circular motions. We're now going to look at combining them into a bit of a flow. So you can think about moving through the neck. We'll go from right to left first, and then transitioning that into the thoracic. So this requires a degree of mindfulness because it's bringing your attention to the body. You can't just, it's not very intuitive movement to pick up, which is why I kind of picked it for this video. So then can we transition from the thoracic movement in the same direction, move to the hip circles. So we're going from right to left. Then from the hips, we go down to the ankles. Just doing 3 or 4 repetitions on each side. And reset. Now we'll go from left to right. So we come forward with the neck, left to right, transition to the thoracic. Initially those transitions might be clunky. For me it's something that I'm currently working on right now to try and make those transitions a little bit smoother. And then bring it into the hips. So you want to see distinct differences between your hip circles and your thoracic circles, and then your ankle circles, so into the ankles now. But we want that transition to be as smooth as possible. So this is a drill I picked up from the guys at Bamboo Body in Barcelona. It's a really great one for integrating some quite complex mobility drills into kind of a whole body flow. It's a great one as a warm-up before anything active really. So it's mobilizing every area of the body and getting you thinking. It's getting you tuned in and paying attention to kind of the coordination and trying to get everything flowing. You can also play around with just doing 1 repetition of each. So you can go to the right, forward and back, then the thoracic, forward and back, the hips, right, forward and back, and then the feet, and you can't see that at the moment, forward and back. Then we can think about switching it from the bottom. So the feet have gone left, forward and back, the hips, and the thoracic, then the neck. So just have a play around with that. We haven't spent a lot of time on that now, so I'm not expecting that you're going to necessarily grasp that. We're going to move on to a different flow now, so have a practice of that one in your own time. So we're going to come down now onto the floor, back to this friendly old squat position. So again, if you need to be up on blocks or a little bit higher, that's completely fine too. So we're going to bring in one new movement pattern that's going to sort of combine a lot of the principles we've covered in previous videos. So some people call it like a monkey or a frogger. Doesn't really matter what it's called. Essentially, we're going in the squat position, transferring our weight into our hands, and like we did in the wrist and elbow mobility video, getting our elbow pits facing forward, and we're just gonna shift our weight across. So we're going up and across. So leaning forward. If you need the knee to come down to the floor to start with, just to slow it down, that's great too. So you can press that knee down. And then you're basically, with the feet, it's just kind of a switch position. So that's level 1. Level 2, we can start to think about bringing some rotation into it. So instead of the hands coming out in front of us, we're going to twist through the thoracic. The hands are going to plant behind us, facing that way. As we do that, we're going to swing the body around and come back to this forward-facing position. So if you want to stick with the first variation, that's completely fine. If you want to have a play with this one, so the hands are coming around, sweeping around, the legs and the hips follow. So that's level 2. Level 3, it's from Capoeira, from Ido Portal's work. He kind of popularized it. We're putting one hand out and we're extending this leg. And then instead of bringing this hand around, we're reaching over the top. So we're going to reach over. It's going to look something like that. the hand plants down, this leg extends out. So if you think about that Cossack squat position that we've worked on before, we can extend over and then spin around. So just have a play with that position, and I'll show you how we can maybe incorporate that into a bit of a movement flow now as well. So we're playing with the sideways position. We can also then drop from our squat into this 90-90 as we did before, using the hands or without the hands. We can come up, we can switch sides and come up again. Just have a little play with that for a second. This time as we come up, as we sink back down, can we think about rotating, using that force to come up into the squat? So we can use our hands behind us, or one hand behind, one hand in front. So we've extended, and we're up into the squat. So we can go back down, extend, and then up into the squat. Up into the squat. We can also then go from the squat, step that foot out, and we can go into that Cossack position, that low sideways lunge. So just moving back and forth here. From here we can close things down as well, like we did before. Coming back up, across, close things down. Up, cross, close the knee down. Cross, close the knee down. So we can then start to combine these movement patterns into a bit of a flow. It doesn't necessarily have to have any structure. If you like, you can just think about these 3 or 4 basic movements and just how can you transition from one to the other. So this closed down Cossack squat could become that 90-90 position, which could become that hip extension, which could then become the squat. Then we could have a play around with rotating through, rotating back. You can close back down to that 90-90, extend up. And don't worry if you feel a little bit lost with this. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We're just playing, we're improvising. We've built that foundation throughout the previous weeks, and now it's just time to play and to explore and to just be creative in a sense. So just have a play around with that in your own time. That would be your homework for this last session. So as well as structured training, which is really important if we're looking to make improvements in our movement practice or any area of our life really, it's important to have an element of playfulness and an element or time dedicated for just creativity, where there's no set agenda, no big goals that you're working towards, just time to play, to explore, be creative, and just be free. So thank you very much for joining me on this Mindful Mobility series. I really hope that it's benefited you in some shape or form. If you want to get in contact with me or ask me any questions at all about the content that we've covered, I'm on the socials at Luke Jones Move, so you can find me on Twitter or Instagram and Facebook. You can also get me at heromovement.net, and you're more than welcome to join my free Hero Academy over there, where we've got a bunch of mobility resources and nutrition plans, giveaways, offers, lots of cool stuff all geared at helping you live a healthy, heroic, adventurous and mobile lifestyle. Thanks again for joining me. Really means a lot. I really hope you enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed doing it. So thank you to you guys at Whole Life Challenge as well. Have a healthy, heroic week, and I'll catch you soon.